we should all have an emergency fund. We shouldn't carry credit card balances. But the problem is like most of us do it anyways.
What is up, Money Tribe? Mike Damazo here to help you make sense of dollars. How You Money is a series of interviews exploring people's inside look into sharing their financial story. I want to introduce to you Dave Lowell, a certified financial planner that's been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, and Yahoo Finance. So tap that thumbs up and let's set it. First question, what made you start in your financial journey?
So man, such a good question. So I was going through my last semester of college in my bachelor's degree. My major was Middle Eastern Studies and Arabic. So I'd already lived over there, had the language, I was planning to live in embassies, right? Work for the Foreign Service. And I just realized like I have no idea anything about money, like nothing. And I had friends who would talk to me about their Roth IRA and I just had no idea what they were talking about. So I felt like an idiot and I felt like, you know, for me, I was married and I had two kids at the time, right? Or one and one on the way. And I was like, man, if I wanted to get my family to where we want to be financially, like I have to figure this out. And so I dropped my Foreign Service plans and I graduated and I went directly to work at Fidelity Investments because they would train you for 12 weeks and help you get licensed and train you on everything you'd need to know about investments and retirement and all that stuff. So basically I just went to work there for me so I could learn what I needed to learn. And I didn't think I'd be there that long, but I realized I really loved helping other people figure that out too. So I just kind of stuck. But yeah, that's kind of my start.
Fidelity and everything, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then just transferring over to your own.
Yeah. So, I mean, Fidelity's huge company, obviously. Like they have a ton of mutual funds, big brokerage firm. And so I would be on the phone I talked to thousands of people, helping every kind of situation you can imagine, from multimillionaires to people just starting out, like just trying to help them figure out their situation. But I wanted a smaller feel. So I actually left, I was pulled away and I helped start an independent small wealth management firm.
Nice.
It had already kind of started, but they wanted to rebrand and get a fresh start for growth. So they brought me on to help with that. And I did that for a while. So I managed investments of mainly retirees, right? Mm-hmm. People that are getting ready to retire, just into retirement. And I did that for a number of years. And then that's when I left and started my money coaching. So
Gotcha. And with that broad scope of retirees to multimillionaires to even people like starting off, what would you say your number one money hack is?
My money journey has been like, first I was like, okay, I need to know the math side of it, like the nuts and bolts, right? Like how do taxes work? How do stocks work, investment returns, on and on and on. So that was really the first piece of it for me. I felt like I needed like a good base of knowledge. But the more and more I work with people, the biggest money hack, and it's for me as well, is like unlocking the mindset around money and like the psychology. Because we all know what we should be doing. Like we should all be saving 10% of our income for retirement, or 20%, whatever the number is. We should all have an emergency fund. We shouldn't carry credit card balances. But the problem is like most of us do it anyways, or don't do the things, right? And so I always wondered like, what is the gap between, we know what we should do, but we just don't do it. And the gap is the psychology. And once you really clear on what you want and what your future looks like, when you get crystal clear on that, then it changes your behavior and you just start doing the things you know you need to be doing. Like saving 20% is not a problem anymore because you're crystal clear on what you want. So I would say probably my number one money hack is like really doing the hard work of getting clear about what you want your life to look like. And then the rest just kind of falls into place.
That's awesome. I definitely agree with all that. So when you first started, who were some of your influences or inspiration in this money, personal finance space?
I mean, there's a lot of books I read, a lot of authors. So one of the first books I read was Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. It was, my parents gave it to us for Christmas one year and I was like, cool. And so I learned a lot from that, right? And there are a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with, but certainly starting out, like that's a pretty good system, especially if you're heavy in debt or things like that. So Dave Ramsey for like the beginning, like getting a budget, getting out of debt, that stuff is okay. I really like Ramit Sethi and I Will Teach You to Be Rich. That's really solid, man. It's like a different perspective than Dave Ramsey, you know, so it's a healthy balance. David Bach, I think his name is, so Automatic Millionaire.
Okay.
He talks about like automating finances and then some of the old classics like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. You know, some of those books, they don't necessarily teach you like the nitty gritty details. Like it's not like information heavy, but it's definitely ideas heavy and like helping you think differently about how you approach things. So yeah, those are probably some of the biggest ones.
Awesome. And then that's basically like changing the mindset, as you've mentioned. With that one, I wanted to ask, what is the one thing you choose to spend extravagantly on when it comes to money?
Yeah, so for us, it's experiences. So I've got 3 kids and they're all little. Oldest is 8 right now. Youngest is 3. And so for me, like possessions, for me and my wife, we just don't care about things. So like house, car, clothes, like none of that stuff we really care about. You know, it's not a dish, right? Like if you care about it, then that's cool, right? Everybody's got their thing. But for us, it's definitely experiences. So whether that's quick hikes in the mountains, or if that's a weekend trip down to like sunny St. George, right, down in southern Utah, or, you know, we jet over to Hawaii for 2 weeks, like whatever that is, we want to make sure that we set ourselves financially so that we can do whatever adventure that we think we want to do. And those experiences, like those moments, are what my kids talk about constantly. Like they can't wait to go back to Hawaii or St. George or whatever, just because like we're together, you know? So yeah, those are the things. I don't mind spending a lot on those things.
That's awesome. Experiences are definitely one that you remember more so than, oh, I got a new pair of shoes or whatever the case is.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the best advice you ever received?
This is definitely one that's been most influential, and it was something my coach taught me. So when I left my old firm and I started this, I hired a coach to guide me through it, right? And that was a huge investment in myself. It was expensive, but I knew he got results. And one of the biggest reasons that I hired him, because I knew I wanted the mindset that he had, like his exact mindset. That's what I wanted. And what he taught me was that what we do is we go through our life, and first we have, you know, our career or where we live or whatever. We let those things dictate how much time we get with our family or how much time we get to spend doing things that we love, instead of the reverse. So like just an example, like maybe we go to college, right out of college, we get a job. Wherever that job is, that's where we live. Whatever that salary is, that's what salary we live on. If it's 40 hours, 50, 60 hours a week, like that's just how we do it. He taught me to flip that on its head and say, we all are working, we're all building wealth for our families or our loved ones so we can spend time together. But you should spend time together right now, not just at the end of the rainbow. So first focus on what does your ideal life look like and shape that. Like the time you do spend with your kids, it might be 1 hour a day right now. It might be 10 hours a day. Right now, it's probably like a lot because we're all in the house, right? So it's like 24 hours a day. But
I gotta redefine my.
That's right. You got to rethink it. But anyways, like define what that looks like.
Yeah.
And then go find the pieces of your life that will support that. So find the job that will support it, or start the business that will support that, or live in the location you want, and then figure it out from there. So it really like flips goals on its head and puts those at the front instead of the end. And that has been a massive game changer for me, especially as I've started my business, but just like in really living presently every moment of the day.
I know you have your website and everything. I saw that you've been featured in different places. What is your most favorite piece of content or place that you've been featured in, and why was that your favorite one?
I think probably one of my favorites was actually an Ask Men, and they just did a quick list of like the top things you need to be focusing on right now with your money. And I did one of the points, but I just love this point so much because I think it's really in the personal finance space. Typically the gurus or like the experts don't spend a lot of time here. And it was basically like, it didn't have anything to do with saving money or investing or anything like that. It was all about upping your earning potential by leveraging skills. And it was just a different audience. Like, it made me think differently about, about personal finance, and saying, well, you can lower expenses only so much, but you really need to increase your income. And there's no cap on that, right? So it's just kind of fun to think that way. So let's figure out what you're good at, figure out what you enjoy doing, where's the overlap, and then just leverage that as much as you can to increase the value you provide to people. And as you increase value to people, then you increase your earnings.
Nice. I'll definitely look for that on Ask Men and then put that in the links down in the descriptions below. For the closing questions is, who are you interested in seeing How You Money?
She lives in Northern California. Her name is Christine Tay. She's big on LinkedIn, and she just has a really unique perspective on money. I think that would be a good one. There's another one that would be good, I think. He's like one of the biggest thinkers in the financial psychology space, and he's written a bunch of books. He's a psychologist and a certified financial planner. So he kind of brings the two together. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, so Dr. Brad Klons. He's good. He's hilarious on TikTok. Like, he puts TikTok videos. It's just, anyway, he's great, but he gets it. Like, he understands, and he doesn't follow like the typical diatribes of personal finance, like, which mainly just making you feel guilty or shameful about something. Like, he switches it up. So
I love that. I love that you mentioned, like, he's great on TikTok. He's hilarious on there.
So funny. I know.
Yeah.
Totally.
I wanted to ask Dave, what are you up to?
So because of COVID-19, right, coronavirus, big stock market drop, job situation is terrible across the country. So, and the economic fallout's probably going to continue for a while, right? Like, we certainly haven't, this is a beginning, and it's going to be really tough times. We've had a lot of years of plenty, and now it's going to be some years of lean. And so what I did is I was just thinking, like, what can I do to help people? Like, I can't work with everybody one-on-one. There's just too many. But what can I do to help people? So I started a Facebook group called Money Mastery 2020. And it's an open group. I just invited people in, and I go through and I just have put out different trainings to help people just start to get on track with their finances, and have it like be a community and a forum where they can ask questions and not be afraid to be ridiculed or anything. Like, everybody's there to learn, to share, to grow, and really get your finances in like a really solid position, and using now as an opportunity to do that, right? When it's like time. That's what I'm doing now. I'm putting a lot of work into that, and just trying to help people out during these tough times. So
thank you for watching. Click the like if you haven't already. Sound off in the comments below what you thought of this interview. High five that subscribe. Stay legendary, and I'll see you in the next video.